The amount of the registered sole proprietorship, it was asked to MinFin, but Minister of Finance, but it's related to TIAT. The business issues to the sole proprietorship up to December 2023 is a total of 1,294. I do not currently have the numbers for 2024 as of yet. For each ministry, a name of all the consultants hired by the ministers along with a contractual amount and how many cabinet staff they have. In response to the query regarding the cabinet TIAT, I can confirm that TIAT cabinet currently consists of 7 members. Additionally, there are 3 consultants hired by the government for the ministry's cabinet, with a combined total allocation of 205,000 guilders from the period commencing in May and ending in 2024. These consultants are engaged based on specific needs aligned with the ministry's goals and are in accordance with the government's policies for consultancy engagement. The Ministry of TIAT said that there was an increase in the throughput fee due to the building of the bridge. The Prime Minister stated last Wednesday that throughput fee was established to build the bridge. Please provide clarity as to what it really is. The throughput fee was established as a revenue post to facilitate the contribution of the operating costs of the port and was established unanimously by the Island Council in 2007. The ED card system by MinTIAT to start within the high season to be, okay, I think he's warning MP Otley is warning to be very careful and refer to the legislation of the ED card. And there you can find the ED card before and upon arrival. He stated that he's cautioning the minister until the legislation is changed, make sure it's mentioned that it can be done upon arrival or before to ensure people don't cancel their flights or missed. So an updated news release was shared and in a way to move towards improving efficiency and the process in transitioning online, where all necessary information will be filled digitally. While residents are not obligated to complete this form, it is strongly recommended as doing so can significantly expedite your entry and departure process. Currently, the system is in a testing phase and allowing for evaluation and adjustments before it becomes mandatory for all visitors and transit passengers traveling to or through St. Martin. No official date has been set for when this requirement will be enforced. Last question by MP Otley, hotel room tax. We are said to have a very low rate in that region. What is the minister's view? Our island's tourism product has undeniably fallen behind in recent years. While low rates are a competitive advantage, we must address the broader issues hindering our appeal. A balance must be considered between generating revenues and providing a quality visitor experience. Next question from MP Duran. Back in the day, it was said that they would pay Union Road and then it would be Point Blanche, but nothing is happening. I'm assuming this is between the port and the Ministry of TIAT, and are they assisting and how will they contribute to the infrastructure? Any updates on that between the port and Minister of TIAT? Thank you, MP Duran, for that question regarding the port's role and contribution to the infrastructure updates, specifically in Point Blanche area and related to the cruise and cargo sectors. It is important to note that the Port of St. Martin, as a key strategic asset, has continuously invested in infrastructure developments that support both the tourism, cruise, and logistics cargo sector, while vital to the country's economy. The port's strategic plan recognizes the need to enhance St. Martin's appeal as both a tourism destination and a logistic hub, all while ensuring that growth remains sustainable and within the carrying capacity of the island. These goals are aligned with the national vision for balanced and environmentally conscious development. Key points on beautifications and infrastructure efforts, such as the ongoing beautification and infrastructure product, the beautification efforts at Battery Point, along with the Point Blanche roads, are part of the broader initiative to enhance the visitor experience These efforts contribute to the area's aesthetic appeal as it serves as a gateway for cruise passengers, significantly improving the first impression visitors have for St. Martin. Point Blanche Road is also critical for cargo operations, and as such, the port continues to partner with relevant stakeholders, including government agencies, to address infrastructure needs in this area. The port has been actively investing in infrastructure projects such as the Cruise Pier South and ongoing cargo repairs, which are set to continue for the remainder of 2024. These repairs necessary to maintain the port's operational efficiency, especially in light of the growing demand for both cargo and cruise services. The port's strategic investment include plans to address long-term infrastructure upgrades, ensuring that St. Martin remains competitive in the region, and these include assessing and improving pier capacity, terminal facilities, and supporting road networks.
Through you, Madam Chair, the continuation of MP Otley's question. Holding cells in Phillipsburg, there was an international court case held. Holding cells are inhumane. Will UNOPS prepare a budget for the holding cells in town? Will money be provided? I don't see anything in the budget. The answer for that, Madam Chair, funds have been allocated for the repair of the cells, and the NRPB is responsible for the project management. The project is currently in the tendering phase. Additionally, BZK has provided funding for emergency repairs on the cells. The emergency repairs will commence next week, starting with the initial phase, which involves an assessment. Through you, Madam Chair, the answers and questions, or the questions and answers from MP Duran. How open for allowing ex-uniform officers to have permission to carry a firearm, and when they are retired, to have their firearm for 5 years? Is a special budget to be allocated for it? Can a structure be put in place for them to have the firearm when they retire? This should be addressed through a policy or a memorandum. Former officers are not automatically eligible for a gun permit. No budget is required for this. Through you, Madam Chair, the questions posed by MP Roseberg and the answers there too. Are there any justice workers that have received payment already? 244 justice workers have thus far received payment. And of course, that is based on the national decree that they have recently received. How much percentage-wise, based on the signed national decrees, have been paid, and how much still remaining? Thus far, 60%, roughly 250 remains. Payments of justice workers expecting. When can they expect the payment? Once the national decree is signed and the employee signs for the pickup at the DIV, the payment is expected on the following payroll. What is the total amount budgeted for the total amount budgeted? What is the total amount budgeted for? The total amount budgeted is 44.5 million guilders. Where in the budget can it be found? When can justice workers who receive their national decree receive their first payment? Once the letter of agreement is signed, the employee signs for the pickup at DIV, the payment is processed on the following payroll. How is it the Minister of Justice ensuring growth and safety while the budget has been cut? Every year, the Ministry of Justice holds a conference to present the annual plan and budget challenges. These discussions help in generating ideas for the way forward and setting priorities to ensure safety with minimal resources. However, it can be difficult to deliver results when resources are limited. To address St. Martin's border management challenges amid personnel shortage at the Immigration Border Protection Services, leveraging the Versterking Grenstoezicht protocol and taking a holistic multi-agency approach is essential. The VGT's focus on integrated enforcement, intelligence, and investigations can help streamline operations and reduce inefficiencies caused by the departmental silos. The sharing of information must get a renewed focus. Negotiating with BZK for increased support is critical, given the reliance of cooperative efforts on St. Martin's standing. This support could address personnel shortages through temporary deployments of regional manpower sharing, while also upgrading the foreign detention center to meet the CARINET needs. The newly launched automated border control systems at the Princess Juliana International Airport will ease immigration processing, making up for staffing gaps. Additionally, implementing the API or PNR legislation will ensure the mandatory use of this technology, further improving border security and operational efficiency. Regular assessments under the VGT protocol will help monitor progress and adapt to future needs. Crime Fund. Based on the law, it mentions every year by submitting the budget, the minister needs to submit a beleid plan, where it significantly mentions which projects will be tackled in that year, including the finances. Where is the plan, and where can I see it in the budget? The current plan is still under development and has not yet been finalized. What is the amount in the crime fund? Where have the amounts been going to? The balance as today is 8.2 million guilders, which includes the BZK funding balance of 3.6 million guilders. Voor versterking grenstoezicht, bestuurlijk aanpak, ondermijning en bestuurlijk aanpak. Spent placement of 2 individuals at Brasami, B14 Measure Country Package, FIU, Work Stream 1 Effectiveness and Compliance Training, en bestuurlijk aanpak ondermijning. Draft legislation. There is a new draft legislation in the making. How far is that draft legislation, and when can it be expected? The draft legislation is currently undergoing legal review. It is not clear which projects are currently on the crime fund. Budget-wise, where can they be found? The aforementioned will be formulated and incorporated into the 2025 budget. Police cars are being purchased through a crime fund. Based on what was that decision made? The CF is dedicated to combating crime, and acquiring vehicles is crucial in achieving this goal. I made a decision to do so. Additionally, vehicles are being purchased through the CAPEX 2023 budget, and the process for tendering is being prepared. Were they budgeted for? Yes, through the CAPEX 2023. What is the reason that the Minister of Justice decided to use the crime fund? Why wasn't it decided the same way that Ministry of Justice decided to tackle the holding cells through BZK? Why was it chosen to do it through the crime fund? The ministry has many vehicles that are over 4 years old and more. The amount budgeted via the CAPEX is not sufficient, seeing this deficit. As such, a decision was made to purchase through the CF as new vehicles are considered tools to combat crime.
you SZV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah, your social health insurances.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Here are a few tips to keep in mind to help keep you and your family safe. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, with the peak occurring between mid-August and late October. This hurricane season, be sure to put together a go bag. A disaster supply kit including a flashlight, batteries, cash, first aid and supplies, medications, and copies of your critical information if you need to evacuate. This public service announcement was brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
If we go to page 1 of the inhoudsopgave, just tracing the Batten and Luston from the 2024 approved budget in March versus this amended budget in 2024, there's a 50,000 difference in the Batten for the old one. So I just wanted to know if that is something very small that could be adjusted. But if you go and try and trace it through the rest of the budget, the original amount is referring to an amount of 574,832,303. So if we could just make sure that that is corrected. Also, very, very briefly, just trying to make sense of the presentation that the Minister of Finance gave us about the changes, and I noted the significant reduction as stated by the Minister of Finance in personnel costs that were overstated by some 12 million, I believe, is what was noted. And these are just some comments, well, actually, rather some questions for clarification's sake. And of course, when we're dealing with this budget, even though I have little tab guiders for me myself, I still have to go spin through. So my apologies while I look for it. If we are starting with the review of the Ministry of Algemene Zaken, this is my expectations based on the presentation from the Minister of Finance of the 12 million decrease in budgeted costs. If I go to the budgeted vacancies for the year 2024, what was noted for the Ministry of General Affairs is budgeted vacancies of 9, whereas in the original budget it was 5 vacancies. And what I wanted to find out, well, the budgeted personnel vacancies cost in this year was 536,300, so 536,000 guilders, 300. And then in the previous year, it was 580,906. But I just wanted to understand if our costs are going, if our budgeted vacancies count, so the number of employees are going up by 4, why are the costs going down? Just to make sure that they're matching and my expectations are in line. Was it, are the additional employees, well, it can't be negative, negative salaries, right? Negative pay. But I wanted to know if the makeup of the 9 employees or the budgeted employees changed. Like if it was persons with less salary, for instance, that would basically match the fact that you have more employees, but they cost less in comparison to 2024 approved budget of March. Going on to the Ministry of Finance, I made a note here of, I don't understand why the budgeted vacancies are the same, but the costs are lower. Similar sort of question compared to the Ministry of General Affairs, if there is a change in profiles of the vacancies compared to the 2024 approved budget. Going on to the Ministry of Justice, and I hope that by asking this question, it will bring the big picture for the full understanding of why the drastic changes. So the budgeted vacancies count in the 2024 approved budget was 53 personnel, 53 employees, whereas now it is down to 3. So of course, the change in the cost associated with that 53 employees versus 3 employees is a significant amount of 2.8 million, which is an expected trend that you will see. So you have less people, you have less costs. But if they can explain to me why we are now budgeting for 50 persons less than in March of 2024, please. And keep in mind maybe because I have my notes and I have my old budget here. So I tried to really put everything together, but it's a big difference for me from March to now. So I just need to make sure that that explanation is very clear for all of us, as well as just the expectations of what we can get from the Ministry of Justice. Let us see. The ECYS was also a big decrease in budgeted vacancies from 24 persons to 6 persons. We're in the right direction, the trend meaning decreased costs, but I just want to make sure that, you know, while we're trying to make this budget realistic, to make sure that there's not any expectations either of, let's say, much needed vacancies not being there. I remember the term that would always be used was critical vacancies. So just to make sure that this is including the actual critical vacancies needed for the Ministry of ECYS.
My first questions would actually be, I guess, intended for the Prime Minister regarding the parameters of the loan for GEBE for the generators. What is the plan behind it? I know he shared a brief bit about it yesterday in the meeting that we had, but many of my same questions from that meeting remain, as you know, and we're awaiting those answers in writing, but I just want to know what is the concept behind it, what happens in case of disaster to that concept, and also looking down the road from GEBE and from the fact that, as the Minister of Finance highlighted, our debt position is growing and we need to manage it carefully. What is the plan then as well from government when it comes to TELEM? And GB. Well, yeah, GB, but also looking at GB, also looking down the road further to TELEM and indeed any other type of issue or catastrophe that may befall us. And then for the Minister of Finance, the status of the tax reform legislation that Parliament was informed about by the previous government. I was told that it was, I don't know if it was at the Council of Advisors yet, or if it is there, what is the update on that? Because that continues to be a recurring issue, something signaled and highlighted by the CFT as well, to improve our tax compliance and indeed our entire tax regime, so that we can, as the Minister said, find ways to generate revenue for the country. And what is government's outstanding debt to SZV and our outstanding debt to APS as well, considering those debt positions. And I guess for the Minister of TEAT, the status of the proposed Airbnb tax, because we hear again the tourist tax coming back, but you know, in the past it has been shared by our private sector, small and large hoteliers, that stakeholders have resisted the implementation of such a tax. This is not an unknown thing. Most times, airlines and cruise lines will say that they are not in favor of such a tax unless it is directly reinvested into the tourism product. So I'm assuming that it's going to face the same resistance now under this government that it did under the previous. So what is the status of the discussions then to have that Airbnb, the other housing platforms and such, to have them also pay their fair share into the tax coffers? And for now, that's it for me, Madam Chair.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Here are a few tips to remember to help keep you and your family safe. 6 hours before hurricane strikes, remember, if you're not in an area that is recommended for evacuation, plan to stay at home or where you are and let friends and family know where you're located. Close storm shutters and stay away from windows. Flying glass from broken windows could injure you. Turn your refrigerator or freezer to the coldest setting and only open it when necessary. If you lose power, food will last longer. Keep a thermometer in the refrigerator to be able to check the food temperature when the power is restored. For the latest weather updates and emergency instructions, turn on your TV and/or radio and visit stmartingov.org. This hurricane season, remember, it only takes one. This public service announcement was brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
SXM, your social and health insurance is SXM, your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
Looking at post 43476, a cut was made of 300,000 guilders for legal and other expertise. Originally, this establishment was for the ambulance legislation to further regulate the department and night hours. The department has requested and urged for such to be looked into for many years. So it's a bit of a shame to see that it's cut, but I would like to know from the relevant minister, why was this cut? Is it no longer seen as a priority? Also, we noticed that there are some significant cuts in community development, family humanitarian affairs. Budget post 43489. These projects and activities were cut. We had 300,000 in projects and activities and 84,000 for third parties. Now, bear in mind why we may say there is 3 more months in 2024. The 2025 budget still has to come, and it, as you can see, our 2025 budget 24 budget came in March and still needs to go through the process and being approved. So let us not just make cuts, viewing the fact that there's 3 more months left. Community development is very important to the progress of community family development. This was one of the biggest reasons for the success in VSR, and I hope that this department will not be neglected. Also, referring back to the ambulance, in the Tulik thing on page 89, the original amount still states 150,000. So that means that someone did not correctly review. And I noticed there's a lot of discrepancies with the Tulik thing and the budget, by the way. As we go to VSA, I would also said, while everyone was taking pictures and very happy of the beautiful job fair that was had, I was also informed that this was not budgeted further. This would probably be the last one. This is important. It showed 2 different things, that the government taking an initiative, and also the sad part, that we see the outpour for employment. This was something that I really, really look forward to, really champion during my time, and it'll be a shame to see that something that is deemed a success does not continue. Should not only be a success for pictures. I move to Vrami. Can you clarify specifically what was taken out of the capital expenditures for Vrami? What was taken out in order for, because on the listing of the capital expenditures, I do not see specifically the 75 million. I just see 31 million added to Vrami. But when I do look in the detail, I do see the 75 million. So in order for that to work, something had to come out. One of the things I do notice that is out and placed on a wish list, because we can say, yes, it'll be 2025 capital expenditures, but we have no guarantee. Because before this capital expenditure, we have not received capital expenditures for umpteen years, a good amount of years. So it's not guaranteed. But I see the phase 1 for the K-Bay project taken out. Now, I don't know if the priorities of anyone, but this is a problem that has been going on for many, many, many years. K-Bay, Dutch Quarter, these places often feel neglected. So to take this project out, doesn't sit well with me. There's other substantial cuts that I see that I'll go through per ministry, but I wanted to touch directly on that K-Bay project for it to be taken out and put on a wish list, because I don't want it to be proposed or sold as if 2025 CapEx is guaranteed, because it's not.